Welcome back to another episode of the Maryland Made Podcast. The Maryland Made Podcast provides timely, relevant, and practical information to empower student athletes to explore their potential and pursue their passions. I'm Walt Pegues, the Big Ten Fellow in the Maryland Made unit here. And joining me today are two special guests, Keyera Wynn of the Terps women's soccer program, making her Maryland Made Podcast debut. And we got Will Koras from the Maryland men's golf program, a returning guest on the pod. Will's a vet. Will's graduating soon, but I'm excited to have Keyera join us for this conversation as well. And Will and Keyera will pretty much just share their story today, but also break down what it means to be a Gossett Fellow and much more today. So before we get into all the content, I'll just ask y'all, I'll start with Will, how you feeling today?
Doing pretty good. It's Friday. Excited for the weekend to start. Had a good week of kind of practice and school off of spring break, and just looking forward to finishing the year strong.
No doubt, thank God it's Friday. Keyera, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm working through an injury right now. So yeah, just going through that, and yeah, first week back since spring break, so starting the second half of the semester off strong.
Absolutely. Yeah, this semester is flying by. That's crazy, like at the halfway point already, but wishing you the best in your recovery for your injury. But excited to have you join us. Will, excited to have you back on the pod. And before we get into you all sharing your story and talking a little bit about your Gossett Fellow experience, to our student athletes out there, especially our rising juniors, this is an episode that you want to tune into and definitely follow along and hear what Keyera and Will both have to say and share about their experience. But the Barry and Mary Gossett Fellows program, I always call it the premier career readiness program for student athletes across the nation. I think what Tim has put together here is awesome. And shout out to, of course, Barry and Mary Gossett for all they invest into the Maryland Made program here. But if you're a student athlete out there and you're looking for a program that can really help you figure out what you want to do, explore your career opportunities, explore your education, and really have this dynamic opportunity to get great work experience, this is the program for you. To our rising juniors, you must be rising junior with at least 3 academic semesters of coursework remaining. So looking at December 2023 graduates or May 2024 graduation date. And good academic standing. So those are the student athletes that can apply. And we have 2 current Gossett Fellows, Will, the class of 2022, Keyera, the class of 2023, on a podcast today. So Will, as the vet, I'll let you start off since you're graduating soon, but just tell the people your story, kind of who you are, and what your experience has been like at the University of Maryland.
So my name is Will Koras. I'm a senior on the golf team at Maryland. I grew up in Towson, Maryland. Kind of been involved like watching Maryland sports my entire life. Grew up going to football games, grew up going to basketball and lacrosse games. Have 2 brothers here at Maryland, a grandfather who played baseball at Maryland. So Maryland's kind of just been in my blood since I was a little kid. So it was a pretty easy decision to end up coming here. And then my experience at Maryland, there's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs kind of in my journey, especially on the golf course. There's been good times, there's been bad times, but I think the best part about it is how much I've grown as a person, kind of working through a lot of those hard times. And I just think that's stuff I'm going to look back on when I get done with college. It's going to really help me for the rest of my life.
Appreciate that. So Will, from around the way, Keyera, you are not from Maryland, but tell us a little bit about yourself and how has your experience been?
Yeah, so I'm Keyera. I'm on the women's soccer team. I'm a junior. And I'm actually from Greensboro, North Carolina, so kind of further away than Will. And I had no one in my family come to Maryland. So yeah, I think like I chose Maryland because like it allows me to experience a new place that's near the nation's capital. So there's tons of opportunities and a lot of people from different backgrounds here. And I just kind of wanted to spread my wings a little bit. And I could just really envision myself achieving my academic and athletic goals here with the amount of resources available to student athletes. And there's just like a lot of Maryland pride here. I wanted to go to a state school where I could be proud to be a student athlete. So yeah, and I'm a biology major on the pre-medical track, and I'm also minoring in Spanish. And I really enjoy being a student athlete here so far, just because I love being part of a team and I've built so many great friendships here. and I love playing soccer and competing in the Big Ten. I've had my ups and downs, just like Will, but I get to better myself in the classroom and on the field every day and get to be part of something bigger than myself. So, yeah.
All right, thank both of y'all for sharing. And y'all both talked about the ups and downs of college, and then of course y'all are college athletes as well, student athletes as well. So y'all do a lot, right? Like y'all are both excelling both on the classroom as well as on the field, as well as on the on the golf course. But in addition to that, y'all are Gossett Fellows, and that's what a lot of this conversation today will be about. And I think, the dedication that y'all show with being a part of this program, and we'll also talk about all the other stuff that y'all both are involved in, because y'all do a lot. Both of y'all do a lot. So I'm excited for y'all to kind of share what your experience has been like, especially for our younger student athletes. And I think it's so important for all the student athletes listening, especially the freshmen and the sophomores, to kind of understand that like your student athlete experience is kind of what you make it. And don't just rely on being a part of the soccer team or being a part of the golf team, or don't just rely on having a specific major, but you can do so much more. And I applaud both of you for doing so much more with your experience. So let's get into it in terms of Gossett Fellows. When did y'all both like hear about Gossett Fellows? And I'll start with Will.
So I was on SAC on the kind of leadership group my sophomore year. So kind of just being around the Maryland Made team a lot, being around a lot of older people who are already in Gossett Fellows that were on the exec board, just kind of allowed me to see like kind of how they've used the Gossett Fellows program to kind of really prepare themselves for their career when they're done with college, and how successful the program was for them. So just kind of seeing a lot of older people and being around a lot of older people, and seeing them take advantage of it kind of inspired me to want to get involved.
Gotcha. How about you, Keyera?
Yeah, so when I first came to Maryland, I didn't really like pay attention to a lot of like the Maryland Made programming, and like I got the emails about it and stuff, but like I didn't really take advantage of it. But I got to know Tim Bryson, and he really just kind of was like, why haven't you applied to Gossett Fellows, when I was about to go into my junior year? And I was like, well, like I've heard about it, but I don't know a lot about it. So I looked more into it, and yeah, I just realized it was something good to put on my resume. Like there was a postgraduate scholarship, and like I figured it would really help me to develop personally and professionally in preparation for medical school and my career. So yeah.
For sure. And thanks for that in terms of like why you decided to apply, in terms of like Tim reaching out to you. So that kind of like intentional recruitment in a way from the Maryland Made staff, but also you kind of seeing the postgraduate scholarship and things like that. So thanks for sharing that. And Will, what was it that ultimately made you apply to be a Gossett Fellow?
I kind of just wanted to take advantage of the resources Maryland like has in place for us to prepare myself for when I'm out of school, so I'm as prepared as possible to kind of start my career the day I'm done college to be as successful as I possibly can be. And so I wouldn't look back with regret that I didn't use all the resources the Maryland Made staff kind of provides for us.
Gotcha. And Will, this is your final semester as a Gossett Fellow. So like, how would you describe your experience?
I think it's been a really good experience kind of overall. I think Tim does a really good job to kind of challenge us to get out of our comfort zones, to look at a lot of different kind of issues and situations, and kind of from a different lens and a different point of view. And I think it's just kind of pushed me to kind of grow up, mature, and kind of start looking at how can I do things right now while I'm in school to prepare myself after school's done, once golf is done. But I think the best part kind of about the program for me is kind of a humbling experience of being able to be around a lot of student athletes where you kind of just look at them as like, oh, this person's really good at lacrosse, or this person's really good at like soccer, but kind of being able to see like these people are doing such amazing things outside of their sport. And like, I'm just a comm major. It's not like anything that's special, but seeing people are doing stuff in the business world, or like who want to grow up and be doctors. So it's kind of like it's like cool to be around a lot of people who know more than you, so you can kind of just learn from them. And it's cool to see how special a lot of student athletes at Maryland are.
Absolutely. And I think that's cool too. Just like on a call now, like you're a comm major, Keyera's, a pre-health major, and it's just, the variety and, so many different, student athletes looking to do so many different things. But seeing y'all all kind of meet once a month to kind of like connect and collaborate when you traditionally wouldn't, right? Like typically I feel like athletes kind of stay in their bubble. Like you may hang out with your teammates or you may hang out with the student athletes that are in your same major, but Gossett Fellows is a great opportunity for all of y'all to kind of connect and see what's going on. Keyera, I'll ask you the kind of the same question. It's been your first year as a Gossett Fellow, but how would you describe your experience?
Yeah, like I completely agree with all that. Like, so my experience has been more than I could have like ever imagined. I've only been in Gossett Fellows for like 6 months, but I think I've been able to evolve and mature through the experience. And even though I'm a busy student athlete, the Gossett Fellows, like you said, only meets like once a month. And it's really influenced me to like take ownership of my life and start preparing and planning for everything that comes after being a student athlete here at Maryland. And I also feel inspired, like Will said, by the other student athletes who are just like actively pursuing their personal and career goals. And it's nice to have that camaraderie with others and know you're not alone as you're trying to find opportunities and progress through really hard coursework and stuff like that. And I've also really enjoyed listening to the guest speakers and being involved in the seminars and workshops that have helped me like navigate the landscape through platforms like LinkedIn and like to really create goals for myself. And I've also like learned interview skills and leadership skills and stuff like that. So yeah.
For sure. And y'all both kind of talked about some different types of experiences that you had or like some of your favorite things. So I'll kind of look at the sessions that y'all have had so far, right? What's that one session in this past year or Will in the past 2 years that's really stuck out to you? I'll start with you first, Will.
Probably think it was the last session or 2 sessions ago we did of kind of defining your mission and vision statements. I kind of enjoyed that just because in the leadership sense of really interested in a lot of that stuff of how like you can create a vision and a mission for like a team and organization, but I've never really sat down and taken the time to individualize that for myself. So I kind of just enjoyed thinking about like, what do I want to do in the future? And like, kind of what is that vision? And then how can I take that and like apply it to my everyday life? So I kind of like have a game plan for like where I want to go. So it's kind of like makes you take ownership for what you want. And you're just like, you're your own coach in a sense. And I just really enjoyed kind of that. And Tim kind of pushing us to not just have like a very basic vision and mission. It's kind of hard to say, but like pushing it. So like, there's something greater than just like, oh, I want to be like a coach. Like what do you want to do to make a change in the world?
I love that. Yeah. Keyera, how about you?
Yeah, my favorite session was like one of the first sessions that we had with Dr. Blake Banner came as a guest speaker, and she spoke about mindset and manifestation. She is a physical therapist and like helps empower like other individuals, like not only physically but also like mentally and spiritually. And she kind of just showed us how we can enhance our mindset and confidence as we strive to like manifest our dream lives and achieve our goals. And so this session like really put things in perspective for me, because I've always like kind of had anxiety about like all that I have like dreamt up for myself. Like I want to be a doctor that like helps other people achieve optimal health, and I want to help healthcare be more like inclusive and things like that. So like that's like gonna take a lot of hard work to get there, and it's like sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna get there? But she really helped me to like really just have that confidence of I can do this. Like I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna be everything that I want to be, and like if I put in the work day in and day out, that I'm gonna get there. So that's like my favorite session, and it really helped me.
No doubt. And from what you were just saying, I kind of heard your mission and vision statement through that, and Will was just talking about that and kind of hearing yours. So cool to kind of see how that all connects. But that's kind of something that I've definitely been impressed with. All of y'all writing those articles after the sessions. I'd love to, look on LinkedIn and see everything that y'all have been, applying or like kind of connecting the dots. but also just seeing how like typically I feel like career readiness, like you'll think of like the traditional like resume review or like, you know, how to write a cover letter or do like the mock interview and things like that. But like the approach that Tim usually takes in terms of like scheduling the guest speakers and like just the sessions, I think it's super dope and kind of gets y'all to think outside of the traditional career readiness box. And y'all have fully embraced that and are definitely like leading the way in those conversations. And speaking of the articles that I, you know, just kind of mentioned, what was one of the articles that you wrote this semester that really like stuck out? And I'll make sure to plug y'all LinkedIn in the episode notes so people can read, because there've been some great articles. And well, I'll start with you though. Like, what's that one article that you wrote, and either something that was like super impactful or like something that may have even been, you know, difficult for you to think about, but ultimately you were still able to write?
I've probably taken a different approach to the articles than most people, just because Tim has given us a lot of leeway to kind of do whatever you kind of want with it. So I've almost used it as a journal just to like kind of give my own personal thoughts of whatever's on my mind. So I've done stuff about kind of my own golf game and the season and kind of just journaling about the journey of the ups and downs and kind of like how you can learn from that. But I think my favorite one was kind of saw something about Nick Saban talking about kind of the process and how he deals with failure. And then Kobe Bryant also had a piece, and I kind of tied those two videos and clips into kind of how can I take these lessons and apply it to my life right now, because the golf season for me has kind of been ups and downs. I kind of call it. There's been a lot of hills and valleys. So there's been good times and there's been bad times. And kind of I just wrote an article about like how can I use these lessons I'm learning right now to become a better person, because there's going to be ups and downs for the rest of my life, and how can I learn how to handle adversity better and kind of use this as a good opportunity to kind of model the best way for my teammates and stuff. And I kind of just enjoyed that because it allowed me to kind of just put a lot of my thoughts kind of onto paper. And overall with the kind of articles, that's been my favorite part, is I can kind of just like get a lot of thoughts and put them on a paper and just put them out there for the world to kind of see.
I love that, man. Definitely happy that you were able to kind of find the approach that works for you, right? And finding, I guess, your voice through that, and leveraging your platform, leveraging your LinkedIn to kind of journal your experience and share your experience, because I'm sure, you know, whether it's your younger teammates or another student athlete across in a different sport, to kind of see that they may be experiencing, you know, similar, you know, peaks and valleys as well. So, you know, happy for you there. Well, Keyera, what about you? What's the article that really has stuck out to you?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed writing the articles. I mean, they've taken like a lot of time, which is not always the best, but like I really put a lot of thought into them. So I definitely think like going off like the mission and vision stuff, like I wrote an article about my mission and vision, and like I just wrote about how like I was fulfilling my vision through the experiences that I have right now and the experiences that I'm like pursuing for the future, and how I'm bringing the life that I want, into a reality. So I enjoyed writing the article because it just like helped me realize that the courses that I'm taking right now and like the other student athlete experiences are helping to broaden me and helping me to become the doctor I want to become. That's like very compassionate and like helping others. And like, for example, I talked about how I'm pursuing a Spanish minor and how like that's going to really help me to be proficient in Spanish and communicate with patients that have language barriers. So I just like talked about that, and I just realized that having these mission and vision statements that I can reference daily, like just will help me to reinforce my purpose and guide my path and really keep me accountable. So I think that was my favorite article that I wrote about, and it just kind of put things in a really great perspective for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. That mission and vision thing, I think is so, again, going back to that, so important. Me just like reading that, I'm like, yeah, let me go back to see, you know, what my like career profile on my resume is, or like, let me see if I'm actually like living that daily, and kind of even through my personal brand and personal, you know, life. Definitely want to always reinforce that what I'm doing, that I truly believe that, and kind of something that the Maryland Made team, we've kind of come up with our motto is be who you are, do what you want. And I think that's kind of embodied through those, you know, mission and vision statements as well. And y'all both shared y'all been writing these articles, y'all have these monthly meetings. So for the student athletes out there that may be saying, I already, play my sport, I already, got a bunch of schoolwork, I'm already, involved in other things, also need some time for myself. What's been key for y'all to kind of like find that balance of being a student, an athlete, as well as a Gossett fellow, but also being Will, also being Keyera? Like, what's that balance been like? And I'll start with Keyera for this one.
Yeah, like I think it's really hard. Obviously, anyone can speak to this, being a student athlete, because you're, going to class, putting a lot of hours into practicing for your sport and competing, especially in season when you're traveling. And then you're doing your homework, and then you got to find time to be a college student. Like you got to have a social life and just like kind of give to yourself a little bit too. And I think Gossett Fellows adds another aspect to that a little bit. But honestly, I feel like Gossett Fellows has really given me a means to feel more motivated about getting my schoolwork done and like doing my other responsibilities and prioritizing certain things, because I know it's preparing me for the future that I'm planning for myself. And so I'm definitely like still in the process, will always be in the process of learning how to manage my time well and like balancing everything. But I feel like I'm doing a much better job of it, and I'm having fun in the process without feeling too overwhelmed or anything. So yeah, it's definitely a balance, but we're all getting there. So yeah.
Sure. Like Will talked about, it's a process. It's a process.
Yeah.
Will, how about you? How have you been able to kind of maintain that balance?
I think as I've gotten older and kind of progressed through my college career, I've gotten better at like fully understanding what matters most to me and kind of prioritizing that. So like obviously I want to be good at golf and like do as well as I can in school, but those aren't first. Like my family's more important than that. So like I've gotten to the point in my life where like if my sister has a lacrosse game on a Wednesday night, I'm driving to Towson to go watch that. If that means I'm missing 2 hours of practice, like extra work I could be putting in, I'm doing that just because that's what matters more to me. Kind of realizing like with Gossett Fellows, like at the end of the day, I'm not gonna play professional sports or college sports like for my entire life. And I know investing in myself as a person is just as important as myself as a player. So like taking the time to do Gossett Fellows is 100% worth it because of the kind of benefit and payout you're going to get in 15, 20 years for the life lessons and kind of growth you're doing as a person now. So kind of just having an understanding of like what my values are, what my priorities are, and making decisions based off of that, not feeling like I have to do something because it's what like the outside wants me to do, but making decisions based on like what in my heart I know I need to do.
So I love that for both of y'all, that y'all have been able to, figure out that balance. But also y'all both talked a lot about like prioritizing what's important for each of you individually, which is so important. And kind of moving on, the Maryland Made pillars here are career readiness, leadership education, as well as identity development. And I feel like Gossett kind of encompasses all of those. But looking at the career piece, I know Keyera, you talked about how it's important for you, pursuing, that goal of being a doctor. So like, what's been something like career-wise that you feel like you've definitely gotten out of Gossett Fellows, like that's preparing you?
As far as like leadership or
just like in terms of like your career path, like
okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been able to, especially through the mentorship program, which is a part of Gossett Fellows. My mentor is Dr. Brooks, who's our team physician here at Maryland. And so she's connected me with so many physicians, and like, just like I've been networking so much, which is like, it's such a pivotal part of, like getting yourself out there and communicating. And it's much more beneficial to like seek out people that are willing to help you and like willing to vouch for you. And like, especially going into the medical field, you need so much experience. So just really like putting myself out there and communicating and getting the experience that I need as far as like shadowing doctors or getting research or volunteer experience is really helping me. And just like I've learned really a lot about how to communicate with others. I've reached out to like professors and advisors for letters of recommendation, and like people that are in medical school now, for like informational interviews, just learning about their experiences and what I can take away from those. So that's really helped me to like be ready for my career, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you know about like the informational interview and piece before Gossett? Like, had you done that before?
No, I had not done that before. So yeah, so Tim Bryson, our director for Gossett Fellows, like just really encouraged us to look for people we didn't know and that we could reach out to and learn from, like through LinkedIn and stuff. And it's hard to do that. It's not a natural way of just like reaching out to people that you don't know, but like you get like that's how you get to the places that you want to go, by reaching out and learning from other people. And you never know who that person might know that can connect you to a job in the future. Like you never know. So I think that like having those informational interviews and building connections is just such a pivotal part of like getting yourself out there and, you know, finding your future career. So
Absolutely. And Will, how does Gossett help prepare you to be successful professionally?
I think the first thing, it's kind of made it very clear to me like what I want to do and what I feel like I'm meant to do kind of post-college sports. And it's a different path than most people. Like I want to get back into coaching. And like even looking at how Tim's done Gossett Fellows, I think he does it differently than a lot of people, in the sense that like he's investing in us more as people and more worried about like making sure we're good people than making sure we're like have all the skills to be like the most career ready. But by doing that and kind of investing in the process more, he's preparing us to be as prepared as humanly possible. And in a sense, he's kind of put in action something I've always believed in sports and like what I want to do with coaching, which is kind of putting the person first and just trying to get a group of just great people around. And Tim's kind of shown me that that's something that's actually possible to do in a team setting and in a team organization. And even the Maryland made team in general, it's something that's different and something that's special. So he's kind of like shown me that it's possible and inspired me and articulated in a way like something that I've always wanted to do in my heart. And it's kind of like pushed me to like, this is something like I now know for a fact that like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Gotcha. Yeah, I love that a lot. I think definitely too, in a culture of athletics, right? We feel like a lot of times on athletes, like we're supposed to be a certain way or appear a certain way, or like, you know, there's always, you know, those stereotypes of, you know, especially, you know, college athletes are only here because of their sport, and just a lot of stuff that you hear from people that don't truly understand the student athlete experience. So I'm glad that you know, talked about, and that's something I think that we do as a Maryland made team is definitely prioritize being, you know, student centered first and foremost, and making sure that we know who y'all are as people, and that's what's most important for us. And that kind of, you know, connects to our next pillar, which is identity development. And Will, you talk a little bit about that. And Keyera, do you have anything to kind of add in terms of like how, you know, being a Gossett Fellow, or just, you know, being, I guess, a student athlete, and kind of through your time, how your, I guess, that identity development process has been for you?
Yeah, I think I've really been able to reflect on my past, like where I've been, like my present, where I am now, and like where I want to go in the future, and just really find purpose in that. And Gossett Fellows has really like taught me how to think critically about myself and about what I really want. And so I now not only have a vision for my future career, but I'm developing a vision for what I want in my future life, like where I want to live and what I want my relationships to look like and things like that. And I'm discovering things about myself that I like to do, and just like kind of developing a piece with who I am. And I think that Gossett Fellows has a really big contribution in that. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And then our final pillar, leadership, right? Like, Will, I know you've been in so many different leadership roles in your time here at Maryland, being a part of SAC, and also being a leader with FCA as well. Have you felt like Gossett Fellows has helped you develop any of your you know, qualities as a leader?
I'd say yes. I think kind of in a different way, since you're not like in like a true leadership position, but in Gossett Fellows, but just being around so many people that are so amazing at what they do and they're successful in school and outside of the sports field, and just being around incredible people. It's kind of taught me that, because like I want to get into a leadership position in my life, and like you have to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you to do that, to kind of make you look good. And Gossett Fellows has kind of taught me just to like know like what your own strengths are, and then get people around you that can take care of what you're not good at. So like it's just an entire process where there's not one real leader. It's just a group collaboration of a bunch of really smart people coming together. And I think that's kind of taught me that like I don't know a lot. Sometimes I think I know a lot, but after being around a lot of smart people, I've kind of learned that like I need to surround myself with the greatest group of people possible if I want to be successful.
For sure. They always say you're doing something wrong if you're the smartest person in every room you walk in. You know what I mean? So definitely. Keyera, what about you? I know I was filling in for Tim in a career center first semester, and I was in a lot of the meetings when they were coming up with the idea board and things like that. So how about you in terms of like leadership positions, or like just building leadership qualities? Has Gossett helped you at all?
Yeah, definitely. So Tim Bryson like kind of sought me out and asked me if I wanted to be on this idea board, which stands for Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board for the school. And it's a group of student leaders who help advocate for Black and other diverse students in their job and career search. So it just like I'm a liaison between like student athletes and the career center, and just like helping advocate for different people groups. And so I think that's really helped me to develop my leadership skills and like really start making a difference in the community. Like, because in the future, I'll be one of a few, like a very few amount of Black female doctors. And I really aspire to help diversify the medical field and just like help healthcare be more inclusive and accessible for everyone. So I'm so glad that I can start making an impact where I am right now, and really think that this leadership role that I've been granted is really helping me do that. And so I'm trying to like, I get to collaborate with other student leaders on campus, and just really think critically about how to cater to people and their job and career search. So I think that's been really helpful. And also Gossett Fellows just helps us to speak up and share ideas amongst each other, just like Will was saying. And like I get to like share with my soccer team just about and encourage them to start thinking about their career goals and seeking out resources and opportunities that we have through student athlete programming. So I think that all of those are just helping me be a leader now and helping me be a leader in the future. So
Absolutely. Oh, appreciate that. All right, now we're at the segment where it's kind of, the final words. We kind of sum up everything. And the first question that I have for y'all, and I'll start with Will, like, what's that one thing or the most important thing that you've learned, or, that you've picked up from this Gossett Fellows experience that you'll keep with you moving forward?
Probably the best way to invest in yourself is to invest in other people. Just surround yourself, like I kind of already hit on it, but surround yourself with a lot of people. Don't be afraid to kind of get out of your comfort zone and reach out to people who are in positions you want to be in. I think the best thing Tim kind of does is he just challenges us to reach our full potential, and just don't be afraid to kind of take that step to get out of your comfort zone to become the person you can be. And I think sometimes Tim does a good job of like kind of seeing where we could be in 5-10 years and just like pushing us now to make the steps we need to take to get there.
Gotcha. I love that. Keyera, what about you? You have one more year left as a Gossett Fellow, but what's one thing that you'll, I guess, carry with you in this next year and beyond from this experience?
Yeah, I think just really taking advantage of the resources I have around me. Like there's tons of other driven student athletes in this Gossett Fellows program that I can learn from, and just being a part of that community is just I'm so grateful for that. And I think just striving to make those relationships with people now and people that have been here. Like we have so many great alumni that are in the places we want to be. So like taking those steps to communicate, I think, is something I've learned, and just being a professional and or being professional and striving to be in that professional atmosphere as much as possible to prepare me for the future. I think that's something else I've really gained, and like one of my favorite parts of being in the Gossett Fellows program. Like I even got the opportunity to speak at the President's Brunch this past semester and talk to some of Maryland's 1856 Society donors about my Gossett Fellows experience. And so that was really awesome. And I had no choice to be but professional in that atmosphere and just build a lot of great connections. So yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. I was like, didn't you speak in front of a bunch of alumni and donors and stuff like that? So I'm happy that you brought that up. But yeah, no doubt. And next question I have is for some of your younger teammates out there that may ask you, or any other student athletes that may ask you, why should they apply to be a Gossett Fellow? What's your answer to them? Will, I'll start with you.
I think kind of two different aspects to look at this. First off, your sport is going to end at some point in time, and there's no better time than now to kind of prepare for that future and invest in yourself now and just take advantage of all the opportunities you have, because this isn't something that your everyday college student gets. This isn't something that I don't think is at a lot of colleges. Like there's probably no other program in the country that's like Gossett Fellows. So take advantage of it while you have it now. And kind of in a different piece, I think Gossett Fellows and investing in yourself and pushing yourself to be career ready can actually help you in your sport of just kind of growing as a person and making yourself more mature, and also making yourself have a life kind of outside of just your sport. So I think it's going to benefit you now and in the future for the rest of your life. So there's no better time to do that than just starting now.
Absolutely. Keyera, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say something similar. I think that there's no better way to develop yourself than being in the Gossett Fellows program. Like even if you want to keep playing your sport after college, I think learning to advocate for yourself and to communicate will help you get to the places that you want to go. And there's no better time than now, like Will said, just to start creating the life that you want for yourself. So.
Yeah, for sure. I know when I was a student athlete, I wish I had a program like this. I definitely feel way more prepared, entering work and entering life, after college. But definitely appreciate both of y'all. And then the final thing that I have for y'all is just, if you had to pick one word to describe your experience as a Gossett Fellow, what would that one word be? Will, I'll start with you.
It's going to be a different word. I learned this from the Alabama softball coach, but it's called mudita, which is vicarious joy in the success of other people. And I think Tim has kind of created a culture where like you can like look around at all the different types of people and all the different people we get to be around and like look at all the success they have and just like be happy for them, and that there's just so many incredible athletes at Maryland, and just being thankful to be around that every single day.
I love it. I need to go get my dictionary to look that one up, man. But yeah, I love that. Keyera, what about you? What's the one word that you would use to describe your experience as a Gossett Fellow?
Yeah, I don't think my word's quite as like that's a good word. But I think I would say like foundational or fundamental, something along those lines, just because like these are the skills that you're just going to need, not just for your career, but just for your life in general, just to be more successful in any path that you take. So like it's just so important to go ahead and like develop those skills and invest in yourself. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And that wraps up the question portion of the episode. But I would definitely love y'all to plug your social media or your LinkedIn or whatever, and just kind of tell the student athletes in the audience where they can find you and potentially like what to expect from your social media platforms as well. I know you're a big Twitter guy like myself, but Will, I'll start with you. Plug your social medias and kind of what people can expect.
My Instagram, I think, is like WXChorus24. I'm not that active on Instagram, but Twitter, like you said, trying to bring that back. It's WXChorus30 or 24, one of them. A lot of retweets of things I think in the sports world or coaching world that I think are just beneficial and inspirational. And then last like week or two, I've been just tweeting out a bunch of quotes and stuff about things I've been reading from different books and just kind of trying to make it a cool spot where people can come learn, grow, and like I can learn from other people.
Gotcha. Keyera, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not too active, but I want to be more active. My Instagram and Twitter is Keywyn, so KEYWY with three N, so three N's with the win. And I look forward to posting stuff about like traveling because I'm really into traveling. And like I'm looking forward to this New York trip that we're going on this summer. So hopefully I'll get some pictures from that. And then I got on LinkedIn, I think I'm just Keyera Wynn. And I probably will be posting more like wins on there as far as my career and experiences and maybe some articles and stuff like that. So you can find me there.
You have the easy name to start like a series, or whether it's a blog or like a something podcast.
Yeah.
He wins.
Yes. Yeah. No, my coach used to say that I was the key to win.
You gotta get that trademark like
Yeah.
ASAP. For real. That's easy. Yeah. But yeah, well, I'll follow up with you about that. But yeah, we gotta trademark that. But again, I definitely appreciate both of y'all joining me today, spending a little bit of time. And I definitely think this episode will be super beneficial for the student athletes out there that are looking to, get into this program. I think y'all broke down kind of all about, what it means to be a Gossett Fellow, but more importantly, like the personal and professional development that it's had on both of you. And I'll continue to, of course, see y'all excel both, on the field, on the course, but also in the classroom, but even beyond this, I think, and that's what a lot of our Maryland Made programs are designed to do. So Will, Keyera, thank y'all for your time. Really appreciate it. And our rising juniors out there, make sure to check your Teamworks email. That Gossett Fellows application is in there with the rest of our student athlete leadership group. So make sure to fill that application out. If y'all have any questions, hit up any current Gossett Fellows like Will or Keyera, or stop by Gossett to connect with the MD Made staff. To our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Maryland Made podcast. Please be sure to download, subscribe, and share our episodes on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. And until next time, be who you are, do what you want. We're out.